Runny nose, sore throat, cough, and fever. Those symptoms are typical of cold and flu season. Most of the time, kids catch a virus and get better on their own with the help of a little TLC. But how do parents know when it's time to take them to the doctor? Here's advice from a pediatric emergency physician at Mayo Clinic.
Little Sarah and her sister Maggie are in the ED because of persistent cold and flu symptoms, runny nose, sore throat, and a fever.
Fevers are usually designated as temperatures greater than 100.4. Hi Sarah, I'm Dr. Hami.
Dr. Jim Hami sees many kids come into the ED because of fever. But he says these days, with most kids having been vaccinated against many common and dangerous illnesses, the height of the fever doesn't always correspond to the severity of illness.
For the majority of children, parents should never use the fever as the sole indication to bring them into the doctor.
For example, he says he's more concerned about a listless child with a low temp than a more normal-acting one with a higher temp.
So it's really important for a parent to look at their child and assess how they're acting and interacting with them compared to what they normally are like, and make decisions based on that and not so much based on the fever.
Look for other symptoms such as difficulty breathing, very poor fluid intake, severe pain, vomiting, or if your child is listless or not responsive. And it's important to be extra vigilant with newborns.
Any temperature over 100.4 in that infant less than 2 months, sometimes 3 months if they haven't had their vaccines yet, is going to be a trigger for you to bring them in.
Dr. Hami says you should also bring in your child if symptoms suddenly get worse or if a fever goes away and then comes back, as that could be a sign of a secondary infection such as pneumonia, which may require treatment with antibiotics. Most kids do get better on their own, so the key is to help relieve symptoms.
So you can treat your child with appropriate doses of either ibuprofen or acetaminophen.
If your child is not up to date on vaccinations or has health problems such as being immune compromised, do see a doctor if fever is present. For Mayo Clinic News Network, I'm Vivian Williams.
Dr. Holm reminds us that cold viruses are spread through contact, so hand washing, covering your mouth when you cough are key. He also says that kids with colds or flu need plenty of fluids and lots of rest.
Before we go, a brief look at the main stories. Premier Smith says the Virgin Islands cannot afford to be left behind in the cruise industry as government signs a $30 million contract to begin works on the cruise pier expansion project. The National Health Insurance Plan is expected to generate enough money to provide health care for all residents in the Virgin Islands, according to Minister Skelton. Government withdraws appeal case against former Permanent Secretary Julian Willock. Library digitization project improves access to information on Virgin Islands heritage and history. The 48th Easter Festival activities on Virgin Gorda has been deemed a success. And Lime brings joy to Brigada Flags Educational Center with big surprises. In news from the Caribbean, Jamaicans are protesting the government's plan to impose a tax on bank withdrawals. And Barbados and St. Lucia are trying to eradicate the giant African snail. Remember, you can find all the news stories featured in this newscast as well as previous newscasts on our website, jtvlive.net. You can also watch this entire newscast on jtvlive.net along with JTV's television programs, community, and government events. Additional information can be found on our Facebook page, facebook.com/JTV55, as well as our JTV News YouTube channel, where you can find all our news features, press conferences, and Spotlight's top news segment with Sean Rose. We welcome your questions and comments. Email us at jtvnews@hotmail.com. For Sean Rose and the entire news team, I'm Inu Soman. Thank you for watching.
Wardrobe provided by Umi Fashions.